In the midst of World War II, an unexpected predator emerged from the forests of Kirov Oblast: wolves. As hunters were conscripted and firearms were requisitioned, these wolves began to lose their fear of humans. What followed was a terrifying series of events that left a mark on history. From village outskirts to city streets, nowhere was safe. Witness the chilling story of how desperation turned these majestic creatures into relentless predators, and how a war-torn region faced an unexpected and deadly threat. Stay tuned to uncover the harrowing tale of the wolves of Kirov Oblast during WW2. This is a story you won't believe. Welcome to Savage Tales, Animal Encounters. Here, we delve into the most gripping and jaw-dropping stories of humans and animals crossing paths in unexpected and often terrifying ways. From the jungles of Africa to the forests of Russia, our channel brings you tales of survival, courage, and sometimes sheer terror. Whether it's the story of a lone hiker facing a mountain lion or a village grappling with a pack of wolves, we cover it all. In today's episode, we take you back to World War II, to the Kirov Oblast of Russia, where wolves, emboldened by the absence of hunters, began to terrorize the local population. These aren't just any wolf encounters, these are stories of survival and fear in a time of war. If you love thrilling tales of animal encounters, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell icon so you never miss an episode. And if you find this story as chilling as we do, give us a thumbs up and share it with fellow animal encounter enthusiasts. Savage Tales Animal Encounters, where the wild meets the brave. The Kirov Oblast is a vast region in western Russia. It is a land of dense forests, winding rivers and sprawling plains. This remote area is home to a variety of wildlife. Wolves are one of the most iconic animals found in the Kirov Oblast. They are highly adaptable predators. Wolves play a crucial role in the ecosystem. However, their presence has also led to conflict with humans throughout history. The wolf attacks in the Kirov Oblast began in 1944. They continued for an entire decade. This is the harrowing story of an 18-month-old child who faced a terrifying encounter with a pack of wolves, and the courageous peasants who risked their lives to save them. It was late September 1944, and the Kirov Oblast was grappling with the dual challenges of war and a growing population of bold, hungry wolves. With local hunters conscripted into the Red Army and firearms requisitioned, these wolves began to encroach on human settlements, driven by desperation. On a quiet day near the Buracovskii settlement, a scene of unimaginable horror unfolded. An 18-month-old child, blissfully unaware of the lurking danger, was playing near the edge of the village. In a swift, terrifying moment, a wolf pounced and seized the child, carrying them towards the dark forest beyond. The child's cries pierced the air, alerting nearby peasants to the unfolding nightmare. Without hesitation, these brave villagers sprang into action. Armed with little more than sheer courage and makeshift weapons, they rushed towards the sounds of distress. With the wolf's path leading deep into the forest, the peasants followed, guided by the child's cries and the tracks left behind. The forest was dense and foreboding, but their determination was unwavering. After a tense and harrowing search, they finally spotted the wolf, still clutching the child, but now seemingly weary and cornered. In a desperate struggle, the peasants fought off the wolf, managing to rescue the child just in time. The scene was chaotic, with the wolf eventually fleeing into the depths of the forest, leaving behind the injured but alive child. The child, though shaken and injured, was quickly brought back to the village where the local healers tended to their wounds. The villagers, while shaken by the close call, were relieved and proud of their bravery. Their swift and courageous actions had averted a tragedy and saved a young life. While the brave villagers of Buracovskii had managed to save the young child from the clutches of the wolves, the terror was far from over. Just days after this harrowing rescue, the wolves' aggression continued to escalate. In the nearby Kolkhoz giant of the Mendelivsky locality, another horrifying attack unfolded. This time, targeting a young girl who was simply watching a horse in a meadow. The relentless hunger and boldness of these wolves seemed to know no bounds. It was a time of great fear and uncertainty in the Kirov Oblast. As World War II raged on, the local kolkhozes, collective farms, became unexpected battlegrounds. In the kolkhoz giant, nestled in the Mendeleevsky locality, the peaceful countryside was about to be shattered by a new kind of danger. On this fateful day, a young girl was tending to a horse in a meadow, seemingly safe in the familiar surroundings. The tranquil scene quickly turned into a nightmare as a pair of wolves, driven by hunger and desperation, lay in wait. Without warning, the wolves lunged from the underbrush, their eyes locked onto the unsuspecting girl. The sudden attack was both brutal and terrifying. The wolves bit at her and tore her clothes, their aggressive behavior driven by a relentless hunger. Amidst the chaos, the girl's screams pierced the air, drawing the attention of nearby villagers. The scene was chaotic as the villagers rushed to the meadow, desperate to save her from the vicious assault. The villagers arrived just in time to drive the wolves away, but the damage had already been done. The young girl, though shaken and injured, was swiftly taken to safety. Her clothes were torn and her injuries were severe, but she survived the ordeal. The attack at Kolkhoz Giant was a stark reminder of the fear that had gripped the region. The bravery of the villagers in the face of such danger helped mitigate the tragedy, but the incident left an indelible mark on the community. As the terrifying incidents of wolf attacks continued to shake the region, the horror reached a new level of tragedy. Just days after the harrowing events at Kolkhoz Giant, the village of Golodaevshchina became the site of another devastating encounter. On September 21st, 13-year-old Valentina Starikova faced an unimaginable ordeal. Caught between two wolves in a scene of terror and desperation. Golodaevshchina, a small village in the Kirov Oblast, was known for its tranquil riverbanks and picturesque landscapes. But on this fateful day, the peace was shattered by a series of horrifying events. 13-year-old Valentina Starikova was spending her afternoon by the riverbank, observing a calf on the opposite side of the river. The scene seemed serene, but danger was lurking closer than she realized. As Valentina watched, a wolf emerged from the underbrush and with terrifying speed seized her. The predator, driven by hunger and desperation, dragged the young girl away from the riverbank and into the surrounding forest. Valentina's screams filled the air, but the wolf's attack was swift and brutal. Her cries were drowned out by the rushing river and the fearsome growls of the predator. Hours later, the villagers, having heard the disturbing news, began a desperate search for Valentina. Their efforts soon led them to a horrifying discovery. A part of her leg was found in a nearby forest, a grim reminder of the day's tragedy. The discovery shocked and devastated the community. The attack had left a deep scar on the village, a poignant reminder of the danger lurking just beyond their daily lives. The village of Golodaevshchina mourned the loss of young Valentina. Her tragic fate became a symbol of the relentless threat faced by many in the Kirov Oblast during these dark times. The community came together to remember her and to reflect on the harsh realities of their era. The events of September 21st remain a haunting chapter in the history of the Kirov Oblast. Valentina Starikova's story is a stark reminder of the impact of desperation and fear, both in nature and human lives. As the chilling pattern of wolf attacks continued to unfold across the Kirov Oblast, the terror escalated further. Just weeks after the devastating incident in Golodaevshchina, the nightmare struck again with horrifying intensity. On November 6th, in the new village Kolkhoz of the Alexandrovsk locality, the wolves' aggression reached a new and brutal level. In broad daylight, the village was rocked by a gruesome attack on a young girl, an event that would leave the community reeling in shock and grief. The new village Kolkhoz, part of the Alexandrovsk locality, was a typical rural community in the Kirov Oblast. The fields and meadows that once offered peace and productivity had become the setting for unspeakable terror. On that fateful November day, 8-year-old Lena Ivanova was going about her daily routine. The villagers had grown accustomed to the presence of wolves, but nothing could have prepared them for the horror that was about to unfold. Without warning, a pack of wolves emerged from the surrounding forest. In broad daylight, they launched a brutal assault on the young girl. The attack was swift and merciless, leaving the community in a state of shock and disbelief. The wolves' aggression was driven by desperation, but the scene of violence was a horrific sight. Villagers rushed to the scene, but the damage had already been done. When the villagers arrived, they found the scene of devastation. The attack was so severe that the young girl's remains were left dismembered. The shock and grief that swept through the community were palpable. The loss of Lena Ivanova was a devastating blow to the new village, Kolkos. The entire community came together to mourn the tragic loss and to support one another in the face of such a horrific event. The attack left a lasting impact, serving as a stark reminder of the dangers that had plagued their lives. The horrific events in New Village left a community in mourning, but the terror was far from over. Just 2 days after the tragedy that struck on November 6th, another chilling and brutal attack occurred. On November 8th, at precisely 11 a.m., the small settlement of Buracovskii faced an unimaginable horror. A 14-year-old postwoman named Tamara Musinova fell victim to a savage assault by a pack of 9 wolves, an incident that would mark yet another dark chapter in the ongoing saga of terror. Buracovskii, a quiet settlement in the Kirov Oblast, was a place where people went about their daily lives amidst the uncertainties of World War II. But on this fateful day, the serenity of the village was shattered by an unimaginable horror. Tamara Musinova, a 14-year-old postwoman, was known for her dedication and bravery. As she went about her duties, delivering mail through the village, the quiet morning was about to turn into a scene of terror. At 11 a.m., without warning, Tamara was surrounded by a pack of 9 wolves. The wolves, driven by relentless hunger and desperation, launched a brutal and coordinated attack. The sheer number of wolves made the assault particularly savage. Despite her attempts to defend herself, Tamara was overwhelmed by the sheer ferocity of the pack. The attack was swift and devastating, leaving the village in a state of shock and mourning. When the villagers found Tamara, the scene was one of utter devastation. The attack had left her with fatal injuries, and the community was left to grapple with the horror of what had transpired. The news of her death spread quickly, casting a pall over the settlement. The loss of young Tamara Musinova was a heavy blow to Buracovskii. The village came together in grief and solidarity, mourning the tragic loss of one of their own and grappling with the ongoing threat posed by the wolves. As the community of Buracovskii struggled to come to terms with the shocking loss of Tamara Musinova, the terror of the wolf attacks continued unabated. Just over a week later, the region faced yet another tragic episode. On November 19th in the Ramenskiy locality, the horror struck once more. 16-year-old Maria Polakova became the latest victim of the wolves' relentless aggression. This is the somber account of her final moments as she was attacked while returning to work with her sister in a forest clearing. The Ramenskiy locality, with its vast forests and clearings, was a place where people went about their daily routines despite the growing threats around them. On November 19th, the serene landscape was about to become the backdrop for another devastating incident. 16-year-old Maria Polakova, known for her hard-working spirit, was returning to work with her sister in a forest clearing. The two sisters had been navigating the challenges of wartime life, finding solace and routine in their daily tasks. But their peaceful day was about to be shattered. As the sisters made their way through the forest, a pack of wolves, driven by desperation and hunger, emerged from the underbrush. The attack was sudden and ferocious. Maria and her sister were caught off guard by the overwhelming aggression of the pack. The wolves, numbering in a pack, unleashed their fury with a swift and brutal assault. Despite their efforts to defend themselves, Maria and her sister were overwhelmed. The violence was intense, and Maria's sister, although injured, managed to flee and seek help. The discovery of Maria Polakova's body in the forest was a devastating blow to the community. The attack had left her with fatal injuries, and the villagers were once again faced with the harsh reality of the ongoing wolf menace. The community rallied around Maria's grieving family, offering support and condolences. The loss of such a young life in such brutal circumstances was a heavy burden for the entire village. Maria's tragic death was felt deeply across the Ramenskiy locality. The entire village mourned the loss and struggled to cope with the fear and grief that had become all too familiar. Her story became a symbol of the pervasive threat that had gripped the region. The series of tragic wolf attacks that unfolded in the Kirov Oblast between September and November 1944 paints a haunting picture of the terror that gripped the region during World War II. From the shocking abduction of a young child in Buracovskii to the brutal daylight assault in New Village and the heart-wrenching loss of Tamara Musinova and Maria Polakova, these events reveal a chilling pattern of predatory aggression. Each incident reflects the escalating threat and the profound impact on the communities affected. But the nightmare was far from over. The year 1945 brought with it new and even more intense episodes of this brutal saga. In the next installment of our series, we'll delve into the further escalation of wolf attacks that plagued the Kirov Oblast. Stay tuned as we explore these harrowing events and the continued struggle of the region's residents in the face of relentless danger. Thank you for joining us as we revisited the tragic events that unfolded in the Kirov Oblast. The stories of bravery and loss during this dark period remind us of the profound impact of nature's ferocity on human lives. If you found this account compelling, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Savage Tales Animal Encounters. Your support helps us continue bringing you more in-depth and gripping stories from history's shadows. Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve into the further escalation of these harrowing attacks in 1945. Remember, in the wild, every encounter has a story, and every story is a tale of survival.